common question in the wrestling community is which WrestleMania was the most successful? WrestleMania is the biggest pay-per-view, obviously, if you're watching this video, that the WWE has every year. And it's almost always around a very big success. With the exception of the New Generation era, I'm pretty sure WrestleMania has always been extremely profitable for WWE. But which WrestleMania is the most successful? Today I seek to answer that question, and hopefully we can find the answer at the end of this video together. It's important to discuss what a buy rate is before I give the results. A buy rate is a more accurate way of determining how successful a pay-per-view is, because a buy rate takes into account the amount of televisions that are available to view the product. So if we just look at the raw numbers, for example, a low-selling 2010s pay-per-view will do better than like a 90s pay-per-view that sold well, if we just look at the raw numbers. That's just because there's more TVs in the 2010s compared to the 90s. So therefore, it's a more accurate to determine how successful a pay-per-view is based on the buy rate rather than the raw numbers, because a 1 buy rate means 1 in 100 homes. A 2 buy rate means, I guess, 2 out of 100 homes. So basically, it just depends on how much of the audience you could capture and how successful your pay-per-view is. It's a much better metric to use than just raw numbers, because raw numbers will paint an inaccurate picture. Okay, so here is the spreadsheet from Pro Wrestling History on Blogspot. This list takes into account many different sources. Now, there are disagreements with every single source for these, especially for the, believe it or not, 2000s pay-per-views. Not necessarily sure why, but again, I'm going to rank all of these based on what is the most successful and what is the least successful, based on buy rate alone. I'm not going to include cultural impact and total buy numbers or anything, because I feel like the buy rate is the most accurate to which amount of success you could possibly have had at the time, how much of an audience you could have possibly gained. Of course, there's attendance numbers. I'm not going to do attendance numbers, but I'm going to rank these by buy rate. Alright, so last place we have a measly 0.77 buy rate. This was for Undertaker and Sid in the main event, and of course Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin in the co-main event. So these were the biggest draws during the event, I suppose. These people did not want to come see this. This is the lowest drawing WrestleMania in history, according to the buy rates. And this is during the Bret Hart era, and Bret Hart's era of WWF was significantly lower draw power than any other, from what I could tell, except for maybe now. So, for those who say work rate is what sells pay-per-views, I don't know. Okay, I'm popping off a little bit because people do like to glaze Bret Hart a little bit, and according to the buy rates, that's just not the case. But of course, Undertaker in the main event, that you got to consider that being low drawing, and of course, Psycho Sid as well. I like Psycho Sid a lot. I got to humble myself because he didn't seem to draw very well during this pay-per-view. But yeah, so this is last place, 29th place, WrestleMania 13. Very interesting to see. Next is WrestleMania 17. This is actually one of my favorite WrestleManias, but it has the second most buy rate. It is actually kind of crazy that this WrestleMania, even though it has Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold, The Rock, Brock Lesnar, and Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, did not manage to be anything more than second to last place. That is crazy. I guess wrestling just wasn't really as big of a trend at the time. I think people didn't really know what they had in 2003, to be honest. This card is, this is shocking, but it is what it is, second to last. Next is WrestleMania 1. WrestleMania 1 has a buy rate of 1.1, so As a reference, 1 in every 100 households with the capability of owning this pay-per-view, or viewing it rather, tuned in for this. So this was the first of its kind, so I assume that's why it has such a low number. But apparently it sold enough for them to try it again next year. Next is WrestleMania 12. This one had Bret Hart in it, Undertaker, Razor Ramon, Diesel, Shawn Michaels. And this one is surprisingly had a better buy rate than the first WrestleMania, but it's, not by much. This one is, I thought this one would be lower, but it is still pretty low on the list. Next we have WrestleMania 11. This is Vin Diesel. Sorry, not Vin Diesel. What the hell am I talking about? Diesel. Excuse me. And this is Diesel, Lawrence Taylor, Razor Ramon, Bret Hart. Basically your favorite new generation people. And since it's the new generation and Bret Hart is not a draw, of course. Just joking, don't come at me. This is low on the list. So, alright, so next we got WrestleMania 20. This one has basically an IWC indie pick in the main event being Chris Benoit with Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and as good of a match as it is, it doesn't really draw as much because the star power really isn't there. And the star power that was there between Brock Lesnar and Goldberg, I believe, was hampered because once a lot of people found out that they were leaving the company, they simply did not want to watch that match. So all that was really left was mostly the hardcore fans, and I think that's the result of these low numbers. Next we have a three-way tie between WrestleMania 10, WrestleMania 21, and WrestleMania 18. Now these WrestleManias are all very different from each other, but they all have the exact same buy rate. WrestleMania 18 is obviously has the best match on here with Hogan and Rock, but there's also, John Cena versus JBL and Batista versus Triple H. That was sort of two passing of the torch moments for those wrestlers, and that elevated them into superstardom. Of course, there were guest appearances in WrestleMania 21 from legends, I believe. I don't remember for sure, but I'm sure Stone Cold was there. I think Hogan was there to save Eugene. WrestleMania 10, this is the first WrestleMania without Hulk Hogan in the picture. And it took a hit in the numbers, I think, for that very reason. But at the end of the day, it is still... I believe these are all at least moderate successes, but at the same time, like, they are not the cream of the crop. Next in line, we got WrestleMania 9. This one had Bret Hart in the main event. I think this is the second WrestleMania to not have Hulk Hogan in the main event, unless you count WrestleMania 2 with Mr. T and Roddy Piper and the Battle Royale with Andre the Giant. I think that this WrestleMania blatantly shows that, that I feel like it was a bad idea to put Bret Hart in the main event. I mean, okay, I'm shitting on Bret Hart a lot in this video, but, like, I think that's the common factor here. I mean, I could say otherwise. I mean, they advertised Hogan heavily in this so it did better than 10. I think that's the reason. But honestly, it kind of did marginally better than 10, to be fair to Bret. So, yeah, I feel like this WrestleMania this is the last of the... This is either the first of the new generation WrestleManias or the last of the Golden Era WrestleManias, depending on who you ask. And I think the numbers are very blatant to show that that's accurate. We have a surprising tie. We have, for 10th and 11th place, we got WrestleMania 8 with Hulk Hogan, Psycho Sid, and Macho Man and Ric Flair. Very stacked card right there. And just the same amount of viewers viewed WrestleMania 14. WrestleMania 14, of course, being Stone Cold Steve Austin's ascension into becoming the permanent main eventer, if it wasn't already blatantly obvious after WrestleMania 13. These two WrestleManias are very different, and I would say WrestleMania 8 is very underrated, and 14 is also pretty underrated as well. They're both very good Manias, and I think they're both deserving of this high spot. At 9th place, we have 1999's WrestleMania 15. This is a very good WrestleMania. It is probably the most Attitude Era feeling, other than, I guess, 14 WrestleMania. It's a very good WrestleMania. This is sort of the foundation of Vince Russo. We have Attitude Era stars like Mankind and Triple H, of course, The Rock and Stone Cold, Vince McMahon, and Sable, China, all these, the eye candy for the male audience, obviously. And, you know, it did well. It did good numbers. It was a big success for WWF, and this sort of, you know, it confirms that Austin wasn't just a one-trick pony, that he had staying power, at least for a little bit, and it proved that to be a success for WWF. For the final Attitude Era pay-per-view on this list, we have WrestleMania 17, with, of course, the second Rock Austin, a very stacked card, the McMahon feud, Triple H, Undertaker, Kane, TLC 2. This is pretty much everybody's favorite WrestleMania. It's probably the most common pick for the best one. But at the end of the day, it's actually not the most successful WrestleMania, surprisingly so. The way people talk about it online, you consider it to be the most successful, but according to the buy rates, and the buy rates alone, it doesn't appear that way. So, next on the list we go. And next on the list is my personal favorite WrestleMania, is WrestleMania 7. I could gush about this WrestleMania a lot. It's definitely the most underrated wrestling pay-per-view ever. But that's a topic for another day. Surprisingly, according to the buy rates, this pay-per-view was more financially successful than WrestleMania 17. It just shows the star power of Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, and Randy Savage. Simple as that. I mean, you can't deny that these guys really are the top draws. Up next, we have WrestleMania 6 with Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior. This is a significant step up in buy rates from the previous entry on the list. This did great numbers, and what a WrestleMania this was. People still revere it to this day. Absolute classic. There's nothing really more to say. Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan, white hot. And, of course, the rest of the Golden Era crew, just making it even better. Next, we have Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage, two of the biggest draws in wrestling history. People really forget how big of a draw Randy Savage was. And of course, the Hulkster. Incredible WrestleMania. I believe this was, I could be wrong, but I think this is Ultimate Warrior versus Rick Rude as well. A lot of Golden Era classics here, and of course, the pay-per-view buy rate is astronomical for this. This is really when wrestling was at its cultural peak. Next in the list, we have WrestleMania 4. This was a tournament with Macho Man in the main event. Of course, Hogan Andre was advertised. Hogan Andre 2, considering how successful it was last year. But this is the Mania that Macho Man got to shine in. And of course, the numbers speak for themselves. Like, I don't think you guys realize how impressive this is. Next up, we have WrestleMania 2. This one is considered one of the worst WrestleManias, but not in terms of money. Hulk Hogan, Mr. T, Roddy Piper, Andre the Giant. 7 out of 10. Sorry, not 7 out of 10. Excuse me. 7 out of 100 households. Every 100 households that had access to this pay-per-view, 7 of them bought it. That is insane. And number 1, the most successful WrestleMania, and therefore most successful American wrestling pay-per-view of all time, most likely, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, WrestleMania 3. Wrestling will never be as popular as it is here, according to the buy rates. When old people tell you about this pay-per-view, and when people tell you about this pay-per-view, it's for a reason. This was as mainstream as wrestling got, and I don't think it ever got as culturally relevant as this ever again.